Are you struggling as a single mother to do it all and you're feeling all overwhelmed, exhausted, angry, and let me shut the door. Maybe you've gotten to points where you're so tired that resting doesn't help. Resting just gets you to a neutral point, and just for you to have enough energy for exhaustion again, but not resting doesn't get you to a rested point. If you've gotten there, I feel you. I really do. I was there not too long ago. But before I talk about that, I want to tell you a story. About 2 years ago, I remember sitting in my living room at night while my daughter was sleeping, and actually maybe she wasn't even sleeping, but I was in the living room alone by myself, and I was just bawling my eyes out, crying so intensely because I was just so tired. And this is something that many men in our lives unfortunately do not understand, that women's bodies are just wired differently. And well, let's not get into that for today, but I was just so exhausted, and I had just gotten off the phone with my then boyfriend, and I was trying to make him understand how I was feeling inside me. And if you hear noise in the background, it's wind. The wind in Berlin is not natural. It's another level. So just ignore that. So anyways, I had just gotten off the phone with my boyfriend, my then boyfriend, and I had been trying to explain to him, or to just share how I was feeling, and which was impacting the way that I was showing up in our relationship. And I couldn't even find the words to explain what was happening inside me. And it took me months to be able to properly understand what was really happening in that moment. Like what I thought that I understood was just a glimpse into the situation. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. And unfortunately, we live in a society that encourages and rewards go and exhausting yourself, do endless to-do lists. And if you're not doing, you're not enough. If you're not performing, if you're not exhausted, if you're not stressed, you're not good enough. You have to be stressed. You have to be doing something that exhausts you and pulls out all your energy in order to be worthy, to be worthy of being alive. But I'd like to remind you that we are not human doings. I heard Mina Irfan from the Universe Guru say this, and I found it so beautiful. And I want to say this, I want to repeat it in her words. We're human beings, not human doings. We're not here to just do. We have to be as well, especially as women. Of course, men need to be as well, but this is not about men, this is about women. So let's stay focused. Um, so yeah, let's fast forward to today. Um, I understand what happened in my living room that night. I was tired. I was doing too much alone by myself. And the father of my child, who was my boyfriend that I was talking about, did not even understand that I could be tired, to have no backup, to not be able to say, okay, today I'm gonna sleep in till 12 a.m. because I just need it. I had a rough week and I just need to rest. You can't have that when you're alone. Or to be ill, literally ill, and to feel your body just crying out for rest and not being able to rest because you don't have a backup. And I'm gonna tell you an additional story. I remember this was last year, and I was going through a phase of my life that I absolutely hated. And literally every day, I would think to myself, this is not my life. This is not my life. This is not my life. This cannot be my life. I was miserable. Well, I felt miserable. I wasn't miserable. I felt miserable. And I remember this particular morning, I took my daughter to the kindergarten. And on my way back, I suddenly felt like I was gonna pass out. And my heart, I don't want to say that my heart hurts because I'm not sure that that was actually what was happening, but the place where my heart is hurt really bad, and I was afraid that I was gonna I was gonna just pass out. And this really traumatized me because I was afraid that I would pass out and no one was gonna care. No one was gonna know that my daughter was at the kindergarten. Of course, that this was not gonna happen because if you don't come and pick up your child, they're gonna get the police involved, or they're gonna make some calls, and eventually they're gonna find out, or someone's gonna find me on the street passed out. This was not gonna happen, but in my mind, I just felt so abandoned to myself that, oh, if something actually happens to me, what happens to my child? And this led me to going back home, canceling everything that I had to do on that day, just wearing my most comfy clothes and just lying in bed. Because that's exactly what I needed. And that's what my body had been crying for weeks, maybe months. Um, we're not supposed to live like that. That's not how we're designed to live. And yes, many times, we design our lives unconsciously to be that way, to be in a way that we have to struggle through life and suffer even to an extent through life. But life was not designed for us to dread our mornings, dread our nights, dread our lives, dread opening our eyes in the morning. Life is not supposed to be that way. And this video goes to all the single moms out there. Just because you're a single mom now, that's not a part of your identity. It's just a current situation. Don't put yourself in the box of, I'm a single mom, this is how my life is, I have to struggle, I'm the only one there for my kids. You can always redesign your life. And that's what I want to share with you. You can always redesign your life. And that is what I'm doing for myself right now. Redesigning my life in such a way that I can relax more. Asking for help whenever I can. Not doing what doesn't absolutely need to be done. And making it easy for myself. For example, I remember, so many stories coming up for me. I remember I had to move out really urgently from a place because I had some drama with the person that I was renting the apartment from, and I had to leave abruptly, and I had 4 suitcases. Yeah, I had 4 suitcases and a pram with a child in the pram. And I took the train with 4 suitcases and a pram with a child in the pram. I have to absolutely precise that there was a child in this pram. That's absolutely nuts. Like, I would never do that today. I would never ever do that. We make our lives so difficult because I was trying to save 100 plus euros to that I would have spent if I had shipped my suitcases to my destination. The stress that would have saved me is worth more than the 100 euros. It's worth so much more than that. It took me days to recover because I did not only have to enter the train, I had to change trains. You can imagine having to pull out 4 suitcases and a pram and entering another train. Like, that is unimaginable for me today. I would rather deprive myself of certain things such that I can always take a taxi whenever I need. I will never ever pull a suitcase anywhere ever again in my life. And it doesn't matter what my financial situation looks like, I'm never doing it again. And that is just an example. There's so many things that we could do to ease our lives. And sure, it doesn't always have to cost money. It doesn't always have to cost money. We think that making our lives easy requires us to have more money. When is the last time, if you're a single mother watching this, I want to ask you sincerely, when is the last time, if you have a bathtub, you spent 30 minutes in your tub without your phone? Just by yourself, maybe with the children popping in from time to time, but when is the last time you did that? You're gonna tell me that in 24 hours you do not have 30 minutes to do that? Yet we all have phones. We all have phones, and I would suggest that you check how much time you spend on your phone every day. Maybe that is time that you could put into yourself that will energize you, give you energy and inspiration to make your life a dream, to make your life the dream that you watch other people live on social media. There's so many ways we can make our lives easier, and sometimes, yes, I have to admit, sometimes there's nothing we can do on a physical level to just shift our lives and make it easier. But yeah, bath doesn't cost anything, or staying longer under the shower and putting some music that you really absolutely love, and just take a long hot shower and finish it with a cold shower maybe. But anyways, it's a mindset shift. It really is a mindset shift, because the person that I was, that would travel with 4 suitcases and have to switch trains, had the possibility of spending the €100 plus to ship those suitcases and have them delivered at my destination. I had the money for it. I had the money, but I wasn't willing to spend it on me, because I was just too selfish with myself. And that's one thing that I've noticed with single moms, the few that I have known, and myself. We tend to be very selfish with ourselves because we've gotten used to being so alone and so responsible for everything that we think that the children are the number one priority. And yes, they are very important. They are a priority, but we have to be the number one priority, because you can't pour out from an empty cup. You can do it for a while, but eventually there's nothing to pour into your children, and all they are left with is this angry, bitter, tired woman that has no peace, no compassion, no patience, and no child wants to be around that. And I'm sure that in your right mind, when you're rested and peaceful, or when if you can imagine yourself as a rested, peaceful person, what kind of person would you want to have interacting with your children? Is it that person, I don't know how to phrase this. The state you're currently showing up in, is that the state you imagine yourself showing up in? Is that the state you imagine your children? No, is that the state you imagine, you tell yourself that your children deserve? If you were to imagine your children showing up as your very best version for your children, like playful, peaceful, and all the things that we could name, do the states match? If they don't blame yourself. We have enough guilt in our world, and mothers in particular don't need to be carrying around guilt. If you're carrying around guilt, like, do what you gotta do. If you have to go to therapy, journal, breathe it out through breath work, or whatever you have to do, just do it so you can get rid of it, because guilt is unnecessary luggage. You have enough you're carrying already on your head. And yeah, so this video is to say that if you're struggling and you're overwhelmed as a single mom, everything that you can take off your plate, take it off your plate. You are worthy of being supported by everyone. And sometimes we isolate ourselves. I had a friend say something yesterday that really had me thinking, because I used to think like that. So it made me realize that I had stopped thinking that way. I used to think that I was all alone by myself in this world and nobody cared about me. Nobody cared about me. If I died, nobody would notice, and which is absolutely not true. It's absolute nonsense even. But that's what I really thought. To me, it was true, and life kept showing me, life kept pouring circumstances or putting me in circumstances where I would feel that I was alone. Because we're not really viewing life as it is. We view life through our the various lenses that we're wearing. If I'm wearing the lens of unworthiness, life will show me that I'm unworthy. If I'm wearing the lens of being totally supported by all the help that is available to me and around me that I can magnetize to me, then life is going to show that to me. And yeah, so I really urge you I suggest that you try to create that mindset shift, and that can happen through listening to people that inspire you, reading books, or listening on Audible, or listening to free books on YouTube that talk about this topic. I could recommend a few books. Maybe I would leave a few of my of books that contributed to me learning that it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be difficult. Suffering is not a what's the word suffering is not healthy. Thinking that I have to suffer through life and that life is a difficult thing that I constantly have to overcome and struggle through is a lie is a lens that I was wearing. And yeah, so I'm gonna list a few books and YouTube channels that inspired me, but it's kind of hard to say that I can't say that this one thing helped me see that, because it's one thing after the other that just inspires me here, inspires me a little bit, makes me see things differently. Maybe I don't understand at the first time that I watch, and then another time after I've watched something else, I come back to that, I see it under a different view. And so it's difficult. I can't really say that one thing. It's an accumulation of things. Yeah, so if you're a single mother, remember that before being a single mother, you are a woman. You are a person. You're an individual. Before you had those beautiful babies, those beautiful children, you were just one person. And that person still deserves your care and your attention, because we are the very best versions of ourselves when we take good care of us. And don't say you do not have time. If you have TikTok on your phone and you use it daily, then you definitely do have time. I know that sometimes we use social media to numb the pain that we have inside of us, but pain is something that you cannot really run away from. If you have pain inside you, have the courage to sit with it. Just sit with it. If you need to cry, cry. Because if you sit with your pain, the pain is there because it needs your attention. I remember one of my therapists said that to me. Pain is present because it needs your attention. It's trying to grab your attention. So give it the attention that it requires. It might take 2 or 3 days. Just give it full attention. Just focus on it. And then you'll see it just gradually dissipates. And it gives you perspective. If you add some meditation or journaling to it, you just gain some absolutely crazy, amazing perspectives and about things that you do for stupid reasons. Like, I could talk about some things that I've had realizations about by just sitting in silence and asking myself, okay, why this? Why this? And the answers that came through me were just mad. But if I start there, we would go on for 2 more hours, and I have to make dinner for my beautiful baby. And I'm just gonna end this video by saying that it does not have to be hard. If so far you signed up, like I did, for learning through hardship, you can unsign. You can sign out. Just sign out and sign in with the easy. Just tell yourself, I thank myself for learning through hardship all these years, and I understand that I thought that was the only way, but now I choose to learn through ease because it's possible as well. And yeah, I urge you to try that, and maybe add some affirmations into your life before you pick your phone in the morning and start reading the nonsense, because there's always going to be nonsense. There's always going to be some new nonsense. Before you go and listen to some new nonsense or who did what in their lives yesterday while you were asleep, why not do some incantations like Tony Robbins says, or some affirmations like tell yourself, I am beautiful, I am strong, I allow myself to be supported, I allow myself to be provided for, I allow myself to be safe. Having money is safe, having money is good, I can hold money. And tell yourself those amazing things and watch your life start just changing gradually. And before you know it, you're in a completely different world. Yeah. So I hope you got something out of this. It's my intention that you did. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to this video, and I will see you in the next video. I have to go make dinner. Bye.